Welcome back. Let's continue our discussion now on the attacks in Benue State, of course, leading to the president's visit, and now being joined on the program from Benue State, that's Makurdi to be precise, the state capital, by Dr. John Totsua, who is a defense and security specialist and, of course, the Deputy Director, Center for Peace and Development Studies at the Fadadasu University in Benue State. Doc, thank you very much for coming on the show. I know you've been visiting as a result of your position and by the fact that you are the director of that Center for Peace and Development Studies at the Fadadasu University. You've been visiting a number of IDP camps in Benue State. Tell us what you've been seeing. Tell us what your experience has been so far, visiting some of these IDP camps.
So thank you for having me. In Benue State, we have 23 local governments, and out of these 23 local governments, 20 are under attack now. In fact, there are some of them that, for instance, if you take Buma, for instance, Buma has 10 council wards. Out of these 10 council wards, 8 of them have been overrun, and then the people are displaced. If you take Benue West, for example, Benue West has 15 council wards. And out of these, 13 of them have been overrun, and then they are all at IDP. And if you take Logo, so the number continues to actually are there. So, so I have been to many camps because of the work I do. But recently, the camp that is of major focus is that of people affected by the Yewata carnage, the genocide that took place at Yewata. The government, the state government quickly moved them to a location in Makurdi town, which is called the International Market. They have been there for some few days now. And then, yesterday there was a little rowdy engagement there, but it is under control now. So it is a bit calm and settled now. That is the situation concerning the IDP.
Doc, you head that Center for Peace and Development Studies. And I mean, you're from Benue State as well, so you know what the issues are. What exactly is behind these attacks?
Yeah.
Why do they keep recurring?
This has a historical background. It has a historical background because, first and foremost, you are aware, if you read literature and the story, the jihadist movement was stopped here in Benue State at the Oshungu East. And based on that, it has remained a point of anger for those that were preaching it, for the Benue people to be bold and resilient enough to stop that movement. And then again, colonial policies that created enemy images among the various localities, communities here. If you remember, the colonial policies described the Benue people as warlike, as people with expansionist tendencies, as people that, they are brutal people that, with all kinds of negativities. And so as a result of that, they created and forced what they call some in other areas, the Munchi War, the ring fence. All these enemy images that were created have come to play now. So this is a collective thing. For instance, if we go to Nasarawa State, the people that were settled there even before the 18th century, before the advent of colonialism, are now considered the settlers there. The same thing is happening in Taraba, where you see.
And you're talking about the Tiv people, right?
At this particular time. And so, from that historical movement, Benue is blessed. There is no local government in Benue that is not blessed with natural resources. And then the presence of the River Benue, River Kasinala, and others. And then the grasses, So Benue has become a major point of attack because apart from the natural resources, the desire to capture Benue land and to install a new governance structure by those invaders. And that is why the pattern of attack now is different. Sometimes when they come, they will bomb the places but now they come, push the people out, and they occupy the buildings by the people. So if you go to these rural areas, for instance, I say that out of the 10 council wards in Buma, 8 of them have been successfully taken over. And these people no longer burn down the houses in the villages. They push the people and occupy those houses. Those places that you see that we are burned down around the Yewata, majority of them are stores because the market in Yewata has been raised down. But because these people were scared of sleeping in their homes, they will leave their homes and come and sleep in the shop. And so these shops were burned down, and that is why you say. But if you go to the rural areas, these people are occupying this land that they so much love. And apart from that, is that this has been a conscious effort that has even crippled the rural economy. If you notice the conspiracy, DCC was here, and technically, through these same people, they crippled DCC to take ownership, and then Benue was attached. Lobby Bank was part of those efforts that were made by the previous government of the state to create a local economy that will have power to resist some of these things. But technically, through privatization and other activities, this economic life wire of the people have been crumbled. And so you see the rural economy has been destroyed, the middle class in Benue have been destroyed. So if you take a look at it, you see clearly that the Benue people have become so vulnerable to this attack to the point that they cannot even resist, especially after the amnesty program that also took place in around between 2015 and 2017. It also made the people more vulnerable. So this is a historical narrative where we are coming from and where our land has become very potent for these people to make sure that they invade it and do away with everybody and they occupy the land and establish the nature of governance structure that they want.
Why is it so difficult for the Benue people to actually stand their ground and defend? You've just mentioned quite a number of communities that have been taking over, that you say have been taking over, and that the people have been driven away. So why has there been no fight back from the people?
Thank you very much. I have said that this invasion has been carefully planned in the past. Efforts like killing the Benue Cement Company, destroying the Lobby Bank, and all these things was to make the people vulnerable. So there's no strong economic life power. The Benue people now depended on agriculture for their production and where they make their money. But because of this conflict, this team has been killed. In fact, the major markets in all, for instance, if I give you an example of the Zakida market, before this conflict, you see about 50 trucks of yams coming out of the market daily. But now people hardly go there. And then that is the same thing with other markets. So that middle class that was beginning to emerge from the farm has been successfully killed. Now the Benue people are left only with the government and the state government. So it is the state government that is to mobilize the local communities through the local government chairman and the local government. But you know, as is with all states in Nigeria, the local governments have been crippled. You know, they are under the rules and practices of the state government, and nothing actually goes there. And the local government are supposed to be the first line of defense. And so when the local governments are weak, and all the local government chairmen have all run away from their own local governments in the state capital because they do not have the resources available. It is left for the government to mobilize this. And so if the government has failed to create that synergy, that unity, to mobilize the resources and to mobilize personnel and to mobilize manpower to move into the rural area, there's nothing the local persons will do. Because Benue people, apart from that, are law-abiding people. The federal government said, do not bear arms. And so the locals here do not bear arms. But these people come with sophisticated arms. And so why would you, somebody with bare arms, go and meet with somebody, confront somebody that is with the AK-47? And by the way, the attacks come when people are asleep. People are asleep. Sometimes they are not asleep when they are just on their farm farming, and then they attack them. So there's little they can do to resist these attackers, these invaders that are there to brutally kill them.
The president, of course, did, in his speech, if you like, alluded to the political side of all of this. He's asked the governor to call a stakeholder meeting, set up a committee involving all the politicians, even those who are not on his side and those who are on his side, that he should bring everybody together from different political platforms, bring everybody together so that they can put heads together and come up with a solution to this. What do you make of that that recommendation or directive given by the president?
Is that actually what the president was supposed to do? As a governor, was he supposed to wait for the president to come and tell him that this conflict is beyond you alone? This conflict is affecting 20 local governments out of the 23. In fact, let me give you an example. In the Okun local government, that is where Senator Dendi, the one representing Benue Zone 8 comes from. Out of the 13 council wards, 12 have been taken over. In his council ward, Senator Titus Zan is from Well West. Well West has 15 council wards, and then out of these 15, 13 have been taken over. In fact, I can say for it because everybody is now converging at Naka, which is the local government headquarters. And even in Naka, in fact, the property of Senator Zangi's house was burnt down as a result of anger from the youth when the people were attacked. If we go to Opoku, which is Senator Abamaru's local government, Opoku has 12 council wards. Out of these 12 council wards, 9 of them are local area. So these people that are politicians and are from this, they are all affected. And so you never needed to wait for, as a governor of a state, you never needed to wait for a president to come and tell you to meet your people. One thing I know for sure, having heard from the different quarters, is that I know that they said the Benue State has 3 senators, and I know that the governor does not talk to all 3 of them. He's not in talking to them with all 3 of them. I know that there are 11 House of Reps members in Benue State. I think I am told he talked to only 2 of them. 2 of them. So the other 9 of them are not in talking terms with him. And then in the Benue State House of Assembly, 13 of them are under suspension. 13 are under suspension. I heard, was it yesterday or some days ago, that some were asked to write apology letter and it will be recalled. I think is it 5 or so have been recorded or something. And so that is the kind of environment, the toxic environment that we have found in Benue State, which is unfortunate, which people are misinterpreting it to be responsible for what we are facing at the larger level. The larger level is that people have found a land they want to invade and take over by all means and establish the authority. And then we are bringing in an issue, an echo issue, or why somebody will refuse to talk to these 3 senators, where somebody will refuse to talk with 9 out of 11 House of Reps members, where somebody will now have 13 of his assembly members suspended. Is it the president is supposed to tell you that? You should know, even when you have differences, you have former governors. You have former governors, including the General Trump, all these. You have 4 Catholic bishops in the state. And have you called them for a meeting? And any of them refuse to show up to find a strategy for this conflict? That is the question so everybody should be asking. If you have called a meeting and any of them have refused to attend, and then you never the person. So imagine you wait for the president to come and say, oh, let all your 4 bishops come together, let all your 3 senators come together, let all your House of Reps members come together, let all your assembly members come together, and so that collectively we will mobilize. Because people have people they are representing.
Yeah.
Okay, let's just take the scenario that maybe there are some people that would have brought out all their might to go into this conflict, to defend us. But because they are not sure if they go in, the response that they will get from the state government, they are not sure whether they will be labeled as sponsors. Because you see, you hear different narratives from the government of the state. That some people are cooking for them, some are even religious bandits, and all this narrative have weakened us more. They have made us more vulnerable. That is why people have that temerity to refer to this as skirmishes. People have temerity to refer to this genocide we are facing as a people, as crises, as clashes. We're not clashing with anybody. We are being invaded. We are in our homes, in our farms, in our markets, and people move from where God knows to come and invade and take our land. And then, so the president had no business to even advise that. The people in charge of the state security apparatus and the architecture should have known that they can't face this kind of battle alone. In fact, this battle, while we are facing it collectively, we should also have been discussing with our neighboring governors, because these people come, house themselves, station themselves in our neighbor's territory, and come to attack us. We needed to develop a diplomatic way of discussing with the security officers in these places too, that this battle, they need to help us achieve it. So for me, the president didn't need to do that. It is something that would have done. It's an embarrassment on us with that statement that we lack thinking, capacity to think, rational thinking. That is why the president can embarrass us with, by directing us to do what ordinarily would have done ourselves.
All right, Dr. John Tochwa, we just have to leave it there. Thank you very much for coming on the program, and thanks a lot for your time. We only wish Benue State the best, and we hope that this violence stops and that the people return to their ancestral land. Thanks a lot for coming on the show. All right, that's how much we can take on the program this week. We thank you very much for watching. I'll see you again next week. Bye-bye.